good, YouTube? It's Louis Gusto. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're in downtown Chicago to check out some amazing architecture. Last time we looked at Chicago School architecture. In case you missed that video, check out the first link in description. But today we're going to be looking at buildings designed and constructed in the late 1920s, early 1930s. It's a story that takes us from Paris to New York City, all the way back to Chicago. So if you're ready to go on a dope Art Deco architecture tour of Chicago, keep it locked. Right now we're in front of the old post office, built in 1934 and designed by Graham Anderson Probst & White, one of the most important architectural firms in all of Chicago history. Of course, it's no longer a post office, but has been updated to be a modern office building with companies like Uber and Walgreens. In 1925, Paris hosted the International Exhibition of Modern Decorative and Industrial Arts, a world's fair that mainly showcased the French modern style of architecture, furniture, jewelry, and other high-end items. After the fair, this modern style became known as Art Deco after the name of the exposition. The first Art Deco building was completed in Paris in 1913, the Théâtre des Champs-Élysées. But because buildings in the City of Light could not be constructed taller than Notre Dame, it would take American engineering to complete the first Art Deco skyscrapers. Right now I'm sitting in front of the Chicago Daily News building, also known as Riverside Plaza. It was the first building in Chicago to develop the river commercially and aesthetically. Previously, it was all industrial buildings and the river was super duper polluted. It was also one of the first buildings in the country to develop a public plaza in front of the building. It's also in the shape of a sphinx. Art Deco was one of the first truly international styles, and it wouldn't take long for it to arrive stateside. In 1924, New York City, the American Radiator Building would become the first Art Deco building completed in the United States. It was designed by Raymond Hood, who also designed Chicago's Tribune Tower. In a few years, Art Deco would make its way to Chicago, and some of the first skyscrapers built include the Bankers Building, the Engineers Building, and of course, the Merchandise Mart, which when completed was the largest building in the entire world, even had its own zip code, and to this day has its own L-stop. Art Deco was a pastiche of several different styles, with the emphasis on being modern. Cubism, Asian art, and ancient Egypt were all strong influences, and by the 1930s, it was clear that Art Deco had become the next artistic and architectural wave in Chicago. The major architectural firms that designed Art Deco buildings in Chicago include Halliburton Roche, Graham Anderson Probst & White, and the Burnham Brothers. Similar to the Chicago School of Architecture, there is no one look to Art Deco buildings, although once you've seen enough, you can instantly recognize one. Some of the telltale signs include vertical lines, geometric shapes, building setbacks, bright colors, and of course, intricate terracotta decorative reliefs. If you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you finesse that like button below, and I would appreciate if you shared this video with your very best friend. 1933, the World's Fair came back to Chicago, and Art Deco was front and center. Many of the temporary buildings were in this form of architecture, and they were dedicated to the automobile industry. A couple of Chicago Art Deco masterpieces did meet their end with the wrecking ball, like the Michigan Square building, which you could find pieces of on display at the Art Institute, and 430 North Michigan, which at the time was one of the most narrow skyscrapers in the entire world at 25 feet. Others were lucky and were converted, like the Chicago Motor Club building, which is now a Hampton Inn. So what can we learn from Art Deco? There's symmetry and simplicity, decoration and glamour. Those two groups of things seemingly conflict with each other, but that's what Art Deco was all about, taking a bunch of styles in opposition and creating something modern. I think that's a pretty good metaphor for life. Think about the people, places, and things that have influenced you. Take the best of that to create your own style. Art Deco was also about progress, technology, and looking toward the future, which we still do here today in Chicago. Now, of course, in this video, we only covered buildings that were downtown, but in fact, the entire city of Chicago is full of Art Deco architecture. And if we get this video to 100 likes, we'll go ahead and do a part 2 covering those. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, finesse that like button below. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to join the Gusto gang. Of course, we will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. We're out of here. Peace.